Patrick Zurcher, who is currently doing Savage Adventures, which was a decent book. I don't know if it's still if apparently they're still writing it. Um, that was a book that was on my pull list when I did have it pull list. It's no more. But Patrick Zurcher wants you to. He's the artist for Marvel Comics, and he has told people and told you that you're basically affiliated with Nazis in the event that you are a Republican. Now, again, whether my thoughts about the Republican Party aside, and as shit it actually is for reasons that have nothing to do with what this guy is about to say, I just need you to understand that they consider, no matter what you call yourself, they consider you all fucking Republicans anyway, and I think that's the important part of this. And if you wonder why they use such rhetoric, it's because they want to, what they want to do is, it's less about delegitimizing. That's not what the term is. It's more of they want to legitimize their own bad behavior. And the only way that they can really do that and get away with it is if they paint this large swath of people in a bad light. But my man's John F. Trent, of course, from Bounding in the Comics, did a good job kind of summarizing this. Zurcher, he took it to Twitter and he wrote in America, and you guys have kind of heard this quote before. Not all Republicans are Nazis, but all Nazis are Republicans. That's not even true, hilariously enough, because the people that they've called Nazis, remember that whole punch a Nazi thing came from Richard Spencer. I would encourage you guys to go look into who Richard Spencer supported in the last election. Newsflash, it was not a Republican. Even those guys that they consider those terms to be Nazis, which is basically anybody for that matter, it's not even true. It's not even fucking true. A few hours later, he would comment on the Indiana State Senator Scott Baldwin's recent comments during the committee hearing. I'm guessing this is on the so evil and destructive an attack on our democracy, which, again, when you say something is an attack on our democracy, you are giving it a lot of credit and you are giving it a compliment. But he says Republican Senator Baldwin's, during a committee hearing, maybe it's not that since it is talking about a state senator, says Republican Senator Baldwin's let's be impartial about Nazis comment made national news and local news owned by Republicans did not report a single word about it. This is what he is saying. So I guess he's saying that you guys are not covering what needs to be covered. The sitting senator insisting teachers can only provide instruction on the existence of Nazism, but we've gone too far when we take a position of it, is the quote that apparently they're saying that the state senator said. And now they're talking about Republicans being Nazis, which, again, if that was actually the case, wouldn't they be loud and kind of proud about what it is that you're alluding to? But what I more so want to talk about, I don't want to talk about what it is specifically he said. I don't really give a shit about any of that per se. But I just the state of culture, state of Marvel, but just culture, some of the nerd geek culture stuff that we talk about all the time. You gotta understand that there's an appropriate approach, and that's what separates, or that it kind of amplifies what the situation actually is and what it entails and what are the, I guess, cultural ramifications of kind of what they have built in playing the long game, the authoritarian left. There's an acceptable conversation that can be had. Now, I know that these weirdos like to think they're doing something brave when they say shit like this. They're all brave and bold and bad, and you're really sticking your neck out there when you criticize Republicans, because nobody does that, right? Like you're just really brave and bold, and it really takes a lot. You're putting your career on the line by criticizing Republicans. Obviously, it's tongue-in-cheek. Nonetheless, you get what it is that I'm saying. That's an acceptable thing. Now, if you, let's say, come out against or you're heavily critical of Democrats, maybe you even just have a position that is not of the what they deem as the norm regarding their little organizations or movements, be it Black Lives Matter or whatever it is. It moves. But if you have something negative to say about that, of course, they're going to out you. Let's just be honest with it. But they have no problem whatsoever basically alluding to the idea that a bunch of just essentially saying that the Republican Party might as well be the fucking Nazi party as far as they're concerned. Because they're saying, again, not true. We know it's not true. It's not, but that's not what we even need to focus on. It's a retarded statement. This guy, Patrick Zurcher, is a fucking retard, and most blue check marks are. At least have some sort of mental deficiency, especially when you look at the comic books guys and the comic book pros. In addition to being pissy ass broke, they're usually retards too. So, but that's beside the point. It's about what this kind of culture, the culture that is manifest, is one that has allowed for these guys to feel comfortable in saying these types of things and seeing virtually no consequence from it. And what that points to is how much work I guess we have to do. And I ain't talking about we as when I say we, I ain't talking about fucking Republicans. Hell no. What I'm talking about, I guess, is people that value liberty. In that, I would argue that you guys need to be more ballsy. I'm not going to hold my breath on people that are pros in this industry or any industry for that matter. To public who knows they know what the truth is. They know they've been sold a lie. They know that the authoritarian left is a threat that they is, but they never voice it because they too chicken shit. I do believe a lot of you guys are part of the problem, and I'm never going to. I don't want to undermine that at all. They're part of the problem, and you're not doing anything. You're not helping out by saying things in secrecy. Oh, I agree with you, but I never publicly said it, is essentially what happens. But because it's just authoritarian left. They feel so comfortable in basically saying some egregious things about large swaths of people. And you'll notice, and this is, I guess, the point, that's a measure. Look at it like that, because you'll notice that stuff is changing when these guys who are loud and proud, communistic, socialistic, authoritarian leftists in these industries, the guys that are political or are publicly political in this regard, you'll know that the tide is changing once those guys start to feel uncomfortable about saying the fucked up shit it is that they say. Okay? But the fact that they are, and there's only one acceptable opinion in that regards when it comes to politics, to where you can actually remain in there, because he knows that he's going to see no consequence for saying that. It's not like Marvel is going to pull him off the book or something, because no, these guys are allowed to have those positions. Now, anybody else say something to the contrary of that probably could. Hell, you could probably say the same thing. You could try to say Democrats. Which you want to get to the history of that party. Absolutely, they've had plenty of Nazis that have been affiliated with their party. That would probably they'll probably lose your job, to be completely honest, if you were to say something like that and to be a comic pro, because that's just not necessarily an acceptable position. But they're bold because they know they're winning in terms of that culture that they control. But most importantly, if nothing else, just understand the people that you guys are funding, and they often hate you, and they will do whatever they can, find isolated events, straw man, take shit out of context, lie if they even have to paint you in the worst light, because they want to legitimize everything it is that they're going to do with you, to you. It's that dehumanization kind of process. Just understanding who it is that you're funding.
You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.